Hello there. I've just wanted to say a few words about a book I've just read. It's by Alex Quaid. It's called The Semi-Detached Women. I don't know if that's coming out backwards, the writing, It's a lovely book. It's a novel, and it's set in the 1960s. And it's mostly set in Cheshire, in the countryside, and quite near the Peak District as well, and but also parts of it are set in London, and a bit in Manchester, and a little bit in Lowestoft. As I say, it's in the 60s, and it's really about the two main characters, Laura and Janine. Although she's going by the name Nadine, which is a name she's given herself, but her actual name is Janine. Excuse me. They come from very different backgrounds. Laura's in a marriage with a quite high-flying solicitor, lawyer, but that all, that crumbles, that marriage, and she's left quite bereft, Laura, and she's a bit older than Janine. Janine's come from a very unusual background with a very, to my mind, very abusive mother who's kept her sort of away from other children and a normal life. And then Janine has gone on to meet this much older guy at a job she's started working. She's only like 20. She's met this older guy who kind of has an affair with her, I suppose that's the phrase. But then abandons her, and she's pregnant. But both these two women from different backgrounds end up living in these cottages that are semi-detached, hence the Semi-Detached Women. And it's about their growing friendship, which grows into more than a friendship. Laura's got a child as well, a son, who's Luke, who's about 9 years old. It's about how they're settling into this sort of quite rural area, how Janine's just surviving and making it work as a gardener. She's got some gardening experience. There's this ever-present threat in the background, and remember it's the 1960s, and there's this threat with regard to Janine bringing up this baby on her own, and hasn't registered the birth. So there's this social worker keeps turning up and making these threats about having the baby taken away. There's an interesting character turns up. He's like mending the dry stone walls in the area. He's Welsh. He's half Welsh and half Dutch, I think. His name's Ianto, and he's a sort of a hippie character, straight out of the 60s. Well, it is the 1960s in the book. Very tall guy, living in this camper van, smoking a bit of, funny cigarettes, whatever. And he's an interesting character, as is the lady who owns the two cottages that the two women separately rent, Lady Margaret. And she's got this sort of woman that's with her, like I don't know what you'd call her. She's not a servant or anything. She's a companion of sorts. It turns out, you find out more in the end. I won't say that. I don't want to give any major things away. But so there's this kind of burgeoning friendship between the two women, and it goes back into the past of Janine, about how her mother was treated by her mother's father, how they were rejected. Janine's father, who we never meet, he's of another race. We never know that much about him. So there's that element as well that is being brought to bear. So there's a bit of an uphill struggle, but she's got amazing resilience. Janine has, in particular, as has Laura, because her husband cheated on her consecutively with a number of other women, but his name's Roger. He ends up moving away from London, and he has a hard time himself, and his character really changes. So I won't say in what way, but the things that happen really make him change his ways in some way. So it's lovely. It's very, Alex Quaid is the writer. Published by Bloodhound, and it's a very new book. It just came out the end of last year. It's only been out a couple of months, so I really enjoyed it, and the writing is really, really good. It's easy to read, but it's beautifully descriptive. Whether it's the countryside, weather, which is all part of it. But more than anything, the characterisation, particularly of the two principal characters, Laura and Janine. And it's excellent. I really recommend it. So it's kind of a romance, but it's not. It's also a sort of slice of social history, a very particular point in time in British history. But there's a romantic thread going through it, but it's about people trying to make the best of a very difficult situations and helping each other. These two women, essentially, they come to each other's aid, and they're different, and they're slightly. Laura's quite a bit older, but nonetheless, they get on really well, and you feel for them both. There was one strange bit, the only tiny bit that I see. Laura's older sister was apparently the favourite child, the one that her parents pushed and pushed and pushed, and was meant to be this ideal golden child with great marks at school and whatnot. And Laura wasn't so much in that kind of focus, in the beam of that sort of ambition that the parents had for her. So, but the older child, I can't remember her name just now, but she ended up committing suicide. And there's a bit where Laura says, she refers to her as like she's the angel or something, or maybe that's not the right word she uses. She's the I can't remember the exact word, but it's like the person that can do no wrong. But it jarred a bit for me, because she knows her sister committed suicide, so in some way to kind of still swipe at her in some way, that she's this person that can do no wrong, and yet she's ended her own life. That made me feel that there's something. It's not to do with the writing, it's to do with the character. I just thought that's a bit odd. I lost a bit of sympathy there, but then I don't know. They've both got kind of mixed up backgrounds, strange parenting approaches and styles, and very quite dark, really, in the case of Janine, but also in the case of Laura's parents, something quite disturbing, really, about it. But that all said, they've. And the ending is very. I won't say anything about the ending, but it's very warm, life affirming of the best of human relationships when they when they work, and not that it's an easy ride through it, and it certainly isn't. There's lots of ups and downs, but it's a very good book and a really good novel. It's out now. You can order it from bookshops or obviously from Amazon. Semi-Detached Women by Alex Quaid. I'm sorry if this is it's reversing the writing, but perhaps I'll put a picture. Yeah, I think you can see it, can't you? The Semi-Detached Women by Alex Quaid, and the subheading is Home is Where the Heart Is. Yeah, so it's very much about home, about making a home against the odds, and out of something that hadn't been planned, something that was out of crisis, really. But perhaps I'm saying too much now. I don't want to give away any major things. And I hope you give it a read, and I think you'll enjoy it. Take care. Bye-bye.